let's talk some love. So the start of every relationship is one big sweet bubble, but you know how easily that can fade out with time. So since a lot of people will be looking out for transient fun, there are others who will be celebrating genuine love as well. So we have a word or two for those who are going to keep that emotion alive. But on the occasion of Valentine's Day, we have also interesting questions that we've been speaking to people on the street about. Take a look.
Some of the Ghanaian men are romantic, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you talking from experience?
Not really, but then my guy is romantic, so. Oh,
yeah, I do agree. Ghanaian men are not romantic.
Why do you say that?
Because that is what I know.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Main chick and your side chick, who are you taking out for Valentine?
Oh, okay, this Val's Day, I'm not going out to anyone. I'm a Presbyterian, and then luckily, Ash Wednesday falls on Val's Day.
Okay.
So that evening, I'll be going to church. So main chick, side chick, Bobo will be uncle.
Okay.
Shirley would always be my main chick.
Why your main chick?
Because she's the main person. The side one's the Charlie for the road.
Okay. Your take on women liking bad guys to good guys?
Okay. Yeah, some ladies like the bad guys, like very bad guys.
Why do you think so?
Because they feel okay with them. They give them anything they want and like they go out with them, have fun with them. But some also like the good guys, like the church goers and all that. Yes.
So what do you like?
I like the good guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
To some extent, yes.
Okay, your reason?
They say that bad guys are not predictable. Bad guys are fun to be with.
Okay.
And then bad guys don't like, how do I say, they are cool.
Interested. So yourself, are you a bad guy?
Yeah, I'm not. That's why ladies don't like me.
It seems that women like bad guys. Well, I'm not qualified to talk about that. I have someone who is Councillor Daniel Annan. He's an experienced marriage counselor, and we're going to talk to him about what to do beyond Valentine. Say you're welcome.
Thank you.
And should I wish you a happy Valentine's Day?
Yeah,
I see
course.
some spots of red in your dress.
Yes.
Did you just pick it up? Because to be honest, I just picked up my dress.
I saw your red too.
Yeah, I just picked it up. There were no concentrations. In fact, when I found out, I was like, oh, this is so not me.
And I saw your gold, so I thought there's a golden love somewhere.
Oh dear. Okay. Okay. So talking about how to keep relationships going. I mean, I want you to comment briefly on what the people were saying. So we're talking to them about the kind of person they like to date. Someone said, okay, well, my guy is a good guy. Someone said they like bad guys, like what is this thing about women being attracted to people who are bad?
Bad is in a sense, but I think that there's a misconception about who to date or to have a relationship with. Quite often people base on their relationship on certain things which are very erroneous.
Okay, like what? Certain things like?
You see, love, I have always said that marriage and relationship is not based on love.
What is it based on?
It's based on understanding, knowledge.
But you need the love to be able to...
What is it? What is love?
It's a strong emotion that you have, a strong attraction towards someone that you love.
Emotion is what? Something very chemical within your body, and it changes 5 seconds.
Right, so but you need something like that.
Your mood of liking somebody could change in a moment. So if that is what your love is based on, then you better be careful because it's not sustainable. But what actually we need to do is to have a proper understanding of how to enter into a relationship. For instance, we need to understand building effective communication. We need to understand building trust. We need to understand building care. We need to understand the fear of God, the faith around it. We need to understand where love or relationship should be placed. It should be placed higher. We should look at the position of it. We should look at the power of it. We should look at the prospect of it. And we should look at the preservations of it. If you don't have proper concept and proper definition of understanding of relationship, you go in with a wrong concept. And that's why we have these challenges we have in our relationships now.
Okay, so the challenges are there. 14th of February, a lot of people, I mean, we've had times where, we've had times where condoms have run out. We've had times where we had all kinds of stories. In some regions, they said if you calculate the day, the 14th day till the end of the next 9th month, there were lots of pregnancies, mostly teenage pregnancies as well. what is it about Valentine's Day that's so special? Are you one of the, I don't believe in it, quite frankly. For me, it's a normal day. But why do you think we make a big deal out of it? And it's not just in Ghana, everywhere, the world over, Valentine's Day is celebrated.
I think it's the celebration of the progenitor of Valentine. I mean, St. Valentine, what he did. I mean, he tried to correct something the governor was doing, which was wrong.
Okay.
He tried to correct it because he was sending people on war fronts, letting the men die, and curtailing the relationships that they should have and have families. So he saw that, no, this is not right. But he will not fight the governor, but he will marry them secretly. And as a result of that, he was killed on that day. So we are celebrating the value of love and relationship. That is where it should start from. Okay. So we should have looked at what did he do? How did he sustain such marriages? What did the men carry along when even they are going to the battlefront? They carried the pictures of their wives. And that was enough energy for them to fight for their nation, because they have in mind that they have to come back. They have to come back for that wife, that beautiful lady, as a treasure she's gotten. So when he was doing that, he was trying to change and shape the perception and the society about so I always say that people really abuse Valentine.
Yes, they do.
They do. But in everything, we should look at the energy behind it and begin to channel it well, so that we can have a proper definition in our context.
Okay.
Because we need to contextualize in our system. So we come into our system. How do we do it?
How do we do it? How do we do it? This is where we come to the crunch of the matter, or the crust of the matter. How do we do it? There are lots of people who are hoping that Valentine's Day will revive their relationship. A lot of people who are going through terrible things in their marriage. A lot of people who are in relationships that are not marital but are still going through a lot of terrible things. What do we do beyond Valentine's? What are the things you need to do to bring that happiness, to keep you together? You've already said that love is not the thing. What is it beyond Valentine?
Let's look at 6 days first. The family setup, how we need to educate our children. It could be a proper time that, for instance, in the morning you gather your children around you and begin to educate them how to enter into relationship, the values that sustains a relationship. For instance, trust. Trust comes when there is truth, there is openness, and there's reliability. At least teach them just one value. It will help. Secondly, we need to educate the society about the vices and the excesses of Valentine, so that people will be watchful about certain things that they should, the promiscuity that some others enter into. 3, at least there is something that can bring society together. Very common, forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the essential things that holds a relationship. So, for instance, if we are able to sit down and look at you, I think, Gifty, I offended you some time ago, and it's destroyed our relationship. Gifty, I'm sorry. Forgive me. And we'll make amends. We'll be shaping the society. The 4th thing that we need to look at is that it's a time that we can also invest in kind words. For instance, Gifty, you are looking so beautiful. I see your gold and I see your
Now that
red.
will be taken as a sexist comment.
No. In our context, why shouldn't you compliment that which is good?
Anyway,
what the ban says?
Maybe
Unless
it's
perhaps you have ulterior motive.
Maybe it's just the example. But that could easily pass for a sexist comment.
No.
Okay.
You see, for instance, words makes us. We are people of words. It could be written, it could be said. You see, it has changed your demeanor.
No, my demeanor is always like
it has made you warm. Why? What I'm saying is true. Let's bring out that energy in you. Let's bring out that sparkle in you. Let's bring out that shining in you.
By using kind words.
Kind words, so that will build people's confidence.
Right.
So when they come out, the women will grow in confidence. In my counseling career, I've realized that more than 60% of the people I counsel, they have lost their personal power before they enter the relationship. The women, they have lost their personal power.
We'll talk about personal power. I would love to talk about that maybe another time, but let's get to the 5th point.
The 5th point is that we need what we have that is good, we need to preserve it.
Okay.
You see, for instance, The Americans always have a Thanksgiving Day, and they celebrate it. They celebrate it in a way that always reminds the people of what maybe God has done for them or the society, or people have contributed in building a society. So at least when we have something that we know is good, we should have a way of preserving it.
Okay.
And the final one is that when the church, I believe, has a very big role, apart from the family. Such dates, today is a midweek. You know, for instance, today it falls on Ash.
Today is Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday. Very fantastic. What do we invest?
The church has to conscientize people about love and
so when we begin to do it, yes, love, forgiveness, reliability, trust, and these values we teach them. You see, with time, when we begin to do them, we begin to shape our thinking from doing other vices, then begin to do that which is good and right on Valentine's Day.
I see. It's a very interesting one, and I hope that all of you are listening. All of you who are planning to do things this evening, I hope that you're listening. They know. It's a moment where you should be talking about trust, looking at the foundation, the things that keep people together. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, and I think that it will be interesting to have you again, so we can talk a lot more about relationship, because I believe that people are suffering, and there are lots of people who have emotional problems. Yes, and some way, somehow, because life just goes on, we just wake up and we're going. But we all know the kinds of things that we have. So hearing some of these things encourage us and alert us to the things that we need to know. Today is Valentine's Day. People are going to have fun and all of that. Do you have what are the words you have for married couples, and what are the words or word you have for unmarried couples?
Marriage is beautiful. Marriage is exciting. Marriage is godly. So we should cherish it. Simple.
Simple. You should cherish it.
Yes.
How do you cherish something that is breaking you gradually? Do you just walk away, pack your bags and go, just leave?
What about he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day? I believe that we should be bridge makers. Bridge makers in such a way that when problems comes, we should find a way of solving them. Make your best effort to solve it. If it doesn't work, then you know you did your best. You tried. Okay. But quite often, because we don't have proper understanding in conflict management, in understanding who even a woman is, and who even a man is, we enter into a relationship with certain concepts, either by traditions or by experiences or the environment that we live in. So when we enter into it, we don't get what we expect, we get disappointed. So what do? It is time that we need to let people understand what marriage is and work it out.
And work it out.
But
what marriage is, what relationship is. We'll have that conversation maybe next Friday, God permits. We'll have that conversation. But what about unmarried couples? There are lots of unmarried couples around. In fact, they seem to be making much more noise than the married couples.
You see, people, for instance, if I'm using you are a brand, and I don't think that you want your brand to be tainted. So whatever kind of life you are living today, you are writing a history about yourself. Let your husband or the man who will marry you in future cherish you for who you are. Integrity is of great essence here. So don't go out spoiling yourself. So when you spoil yourself, you have dented the image.
Now that's a point for debate. If you say spoiling yourself, if I'm in a relationship with someone and we're having fun, why are you saying we're spoiling
ourselves? Which of the fun?
I mean, you're just saying, what do you mean by saying you're spoiling yourself? What are we spoiling?
You see, when you're in a relationship with people, sex is not the issue.
A lot of people are going to have sex today, though.
Really?
That's what they say.
I'm not aware about that. You are telling me.
They say.
Is it by experience?
No, not
sorry.
at all. But that's what they say.
Because you just went straight to it.
No, it's become an open secret.
Oh, really?
It's become, yes, that's why I started by
so
saying
you have knowledge about it?
No, I mean, I know. We've heard stories.
We know by experience or by
No,
reading?
I mean, I am not in a relationship.
Okay.
So I can say, we know from the stories that we hear. Like I started saying, condoms run out. We hear stories of condoms that have run out. People getting pregnant, teenage pregnancy, etc. So what is it that they're doing that you think they're spoiling themselves? That's what I want you to clarify.
What I mean is promiscuity is bad.
Right.
We need to see it as it is, because sex should always find its way in marriage.
Okay.
So when you want, for instance, you have slept with this person, you have slept with that person, and maybe the person who marries you happens to be the friend of your ex. Oh, so this guy I know. Oh, this guy I know him. Well, I tried before. Then,
but
you listen. I tried before. Look at the facial expression of that man who you are married to. So this thing I think is new.
Do men still care about that?
They care.
They still care?
Yes, of course.
I get the feeling they don't.
Men are more jealous than women. We are, yes, we are jealous.
But what about the men? You're speaking about the effects that comes to the women. What about the men? They don't have any effects
at all? Same, because every woman wants a man that she'll be proud of.
But the women seem to like men who have experience in sex, who have sexual experience. You know, they don't?
Because they are wild. They are wild, you cannot control, because you see, marriage is not an antidote for somebody who is a womanizer. You don't use marriage as an antidote for somebody who is a womanizer. If somebody is a womanizer, you will not even be satisfied whatever you do. You will go out again. So women are looking for decent men.
And men are looking for decent women.
A home keeper.
Hey, that's where the sugar them and the pepper them argument comes in. But unfortunately, we don't have time now. This is a conversation I would love for us to have. Let's make a date for next week to continue this conversation. Where do you stand? Sugar them or pepper them?
Sugar them.
That's not a good position to take. You should be in the middle.
I pepper them for the wear.
No.
You pepper who?
You have to understand their arguments. But anyway, I don't have so much time. I've been speaking with Councillor Daniel Annan. He's a pastor as well. But I believe that you've taken something away. But let me just find out briefly, what should people take away from this conversation today?
What people should take away from this conversation is that love is good. So let us go into relationship and love with the right motive. And let us build things. When even they collapse, at least there is an opportunity for us to build it again.
Right.
And let us all help to shaping the society so that we can live in harmony. It's our greatest essence.
Shaping the society so we can live in harmony. It boils down to love. If you love people, you won't be engaged in corruption, because you know that the act of corruption that you commit will lead to the end of someone's life. If you love people, you won't throw things all over the place, because you know that when it rains, Accra chokes and people die. It's all about love, isn't it? Thank you very much, Councillor, for coming. But next week, we're making a date. Next week, we'll have that conversation as well.